just a moment, and I think I can swap that around. There. Does that work? And it looks like we are still getting some participants in. So we will wait just a moment so that we can get everyone. All right. Let me try one more thing. We'll get this right. Let's see, does this work? Hopefully we'll get it. Or everyone is able to read backwards. Oh, great. All right, well, I think we are ready to start. We wanted to give a little bit of time to let people in who might just be joining us or still trying to figure out the tech, as obviously I was just doing now. But we did want to feature this beautiful background, and I'll just slide over a bit so that you can see the wonderful artwork and the Women's Equality 2020 theme that we have been talking about, and certainly tonight, hopefully able to celebrate a little bit. So I think we are set. I'll wait to see if we get the okay from the organizers to go ahead with the program. So Protima or Mike, I think I just got the okay. We just wanted to say we are thrilled to welcome you to this evening of We Shine, We Vote, this celebration in 2020 that is being hosted both by the County of Santa Clara Office of Women's Policy, as well as the Japantown Community Congress of San Jose. And my name is Jana Katsuyama. I'm a journalist, a reporter for the 10 o'clock news at KTVU Fox 2. And I am just delighted. I was so honored to be asked to be part of this evening, because when we look at the history of our country, it is one where we have this wonderful Constitution, and certainly it has been an endeavor with each generation to try and live up to it and make sure that it fulfills the mission that was laid out for all of the people here. So this is a wonderful moment to be able to celebrate that and also take a look back. So I wanted to, first of all, just to call your attention to this screen with a welcome from Santa Clara County. And the Women's Equality Leadership Council through Santa Clara was established back in 2018 by the County Board of Supervisors with a specific goal, the mission to work on commemorating the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. And of course, that 19th Amendment was dedicated to finally giving women the right to vote. through the centennial commemoration work, the Council and the Office of Women's Policy was able to basically get to know the Japantown Community Congress of San Jose. And what a wonderful partnership was born from that. And really a beginning for this evening and also for work that could continue well into the future. Now, originally the plan was to hold a lantern ceremony, a walk in homage to the historic torchlight parade that happened back in 1912 in New York. The plan was to make lanterns and to march down to City Hall, all in a show of solidarity of different communities of color that make up this rich area that we live in. And the pandemic, while it has put those plans on hold, on the back burner, the organizers decided that they wanted to still do something. And so that brings us here tonight so that we can still celebrate this idea, this notion, this most noble cause of we shine, we vote, with everyone here tonight. So the Office of Women's Policy for the past 22 years has really been a part of the county administration. You can see there that beautiful logo that they have. And it is a group that is working on justice for women, girls, gender-based issues, and also advocating for economic advancement. All of those things come under this particular group, and they have done projects including monitoring at the women's jail, working for zero incarceration of girls and gender expansive youth, administering the only known leadership development program for high school girls that's managed by a county administrative office in the nation. And those are all things that they are continuing to work for to try and improve people's lives right here in our community. We also are going to be focusing on San Jose's Japantown. And at this point, I don't know if we're able to do this, but if we are, we wanted to take a quick, ask all of the participants, the attendees, if you have been to San Jose's Japantown, and you'll see this survey pop up. So if you could just please go to your screen and answer yes, no, or I will as soon as shelter in place ends, and then go ahead and click on submit. We'd love to know if you have been in San Jose's Japantown. It is one of just a very few remaining Japantowns in the entire country, and certainly a treasure for us here in Silicon Valley. And so it looks as though the majority have. We have 91% who said yes, 4% who said no, and 4% who said I will as soon as shelter in place ends. And I think certainly there are a lot of the merchants, the small businesses, the community centers there that would be most glad to welcome you as soon as you are able to go. A little bit first about the Japantown Community Congress of San Jose. Basically, this group is a tremendous advocate for preservation of the historic and the cultural heritage of San Jose's Japantown. It promotes efforts to sustain the businesses, a lot of them family businesses there, enhance the diversity, the vitality of this community, really to preserve for future generations to come, and not just Japanese American, but also the entire Bay Area community. They also have worked on advocacy in issues such as renaming the Japantown Park to Highlandville Park in honor of John Highland, who really braved death threats to use his property to try and help rebuild some of the Chinatown that existed before Japantown. And in addition, the JCC San Jose has also successfully worked to stop a plan that would have cut into parking in the Japantown area. So we appreciate their sponsoring and helping to coordinate with the Santa Clara County to have this event tonight. Now moving on to the next slide, we want to talk to you a little bit about the Japantown Prepared. That is a coordinated effort funded partly for UICAI, which as many people here in the community know is the senior center, for the volunteers to sew masks for the JCC San Jose Japantown Prepared effort. And this is really a wonderful example of the tremendous community grassroots-based volunteerism that goes on. They disseminated them to people in need. Those masks, as we know, are so important right now. And they also partnered with San Jose University's Professor A.J. Foss to complete a study of community threats and vulnerabilities, so partnering with academia as well. The Nikkei Community Internship Program, despite this pandemic, has still been going strong. They have 2 interns who have worked on successful fundraising for community organizations. And also thanks go out to the alumni who have helped really with all of the other kind of work that is needed, the fundraising, helping with the committee to coordinate the programs. Certainly it's been difficult to get together, but there has been still the tremendous need for community organizing. And they are currently raising money to fix the lantern that's located on Jackson and 5th Street in San Jose's Japantown. And if you would like to get more information on that, there is a linked website there, the www.jcc-sj.org. One of the things that we thought it would be interesting to do is just take a quick little question, a quiz as to when most women were allowed to vote. I know sometimes when I talk to younger people, they think that they've always been able to vote, but it certainly has been not the case in this country. So you'll see pop up a little second poll that we're taking. So if you could just click that, take a guess if you don't know. Some people say still waiting, and if you are still waiting, I think we're going to hear a little bit later on how you might be able to register if you are of age and be able to vote in this election, vote early. So we'll give you a little bit of time to respond, and then we will move on to the next slide. And let's see, did we have a result yet? We'll wait for that to pop up. There we go. When were most people allowed to vote? You can see there's a little bit of question there between the 1920 and the 1950, a few people putting 1900 and then the still waiting. Well, this is the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, so that might give you a little bit of a clue. But it really is important to note that the right to vote has not always been universal. And even when the 19th Amendment passed, it was limited often to just white women, Caucasian women, and also it did not guarantee access to voting, which is a key part of voting, as we have seen, that you might have the right to vote, but do you have access to be able to vote? And so this commemoration is really looking back and honoring the history, the struggles of the people who have come before to try and make this both the landmark 19th Amendment and the victory that that represented, but also setting the stage for the other people who followed, who tried to expand that to include more people and give people that right to vote. Certainly with Asians in America, we have seen during this global pandemic many visible instances of anti-Asian sentiments, discrimination against Asians, and that can go back into the 19th century. We saw in 1882 with the Chinese Exclusion Act that some Chinese people who had been citizens were basically deprived of their rights, and years of advocacy from many communities of color, often coming together in solidarity, has helped tremendously in winning Asian immigrants and others the right to vote. The Immigration Act of 1952 is one landmark piece of legislation, and generations since have been trying to make sure that the Constitution's rights, that those things that we hold up as our national ideals apply to everyone in this country. On that note, we'd like to go to a video that has been prepared. We welcome 5 young leaders from the Japantown community representing the San Jose Buddhist Church, Betsuin, and Wesley United Methodist Church. And they're going to be addressing a series of questions and share what it is that they love most about their communities and our country. So these are voices of the future, and please listen to what they have to say, for these are the young leaders who are going to be heading up our community.
Hi, my name is Adeline Clark. I'm a Girl Scout from Troop 61303 in Service Unit 611 at the San Jose Buddhist Church, Betsuin.
What do you love about your country?
I love that my country gives its people so many freedoms and that we have the power to change.
What kind of world do you want to see when you grow up?
As I grow up, I want to see a world where people aren't afraid for their lives because of their race, religion, gender, or sexuality.
What is your favorite part of being with a community?
My favorite part of being with the community is that it's so supportive and that we get to work together to achieve a lot of great things.
If you had to finish this sentence, I am proud to live in a place where.
I would finish it by saying I'm proud to live in a place where I'm free to be myself and that I'm encouraged to go find my own path and be who I want to be.
Hi, I'm Kendall, and a role model of mine is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because she stands up for what she believes is right and she doesn't let criticism get in the way. Although there is a lot of things wrong with our country, I am grateful for the parts of it that are accepting and safe. As I grow up, I want to see enough change to the point where people can express themselves freely and everyone gets equal rights and privilege and opportunities. I am proud to live in a diverse community where, for the most part, people are accepted for who they truly are.
Hi, my name is Amelia, and a woman who inspires me most is my mom.
Oh, thank you, Amelia. What kind of world do you want to see as you grow up?
The world I want to see as I grow up is one who accepts everyone and one that creates an overall positive and welcoming space from my generation to others. I want to see peace in the world, whether it be between large communities all the way to one person to another.
First off, I would like to thank my mom, who inspires me and encourages me to work hard and be better every single day.
What do you love about your country?
What I love about America is it's a place where we have freedom and opportunity, no matter your race, religion, or creed. America is founded on giving people the ability to thrive and live happily.
What kind of world do you want to see as you grow up?
I would like to see a world where poverty doesn't exist. I would like to see a world where we can um, we can have equal opportunity for everybody in our country.
What is your favorite part of being with community?
My favorite part of being in a community is sharing love and culture with other people around us. Uh, and I'm very privileged to live in a place where we have a lot of diversity in our communities, that we can share our cultures and um, and celebrate our differences.
I am proud to live in a place where.
I'm proud to live in a place where we have respect for each other and a place where we can continue to grow as one big melting pot.
Hi, my name is Kelly Kosakura, and I am a Senior Ambassador Girl Scout at Wesley. A woman who inspires me is my grandmother. She was the epitome of compassion and hard work, and I aspire to be just like her. So my favorite part about being in a community is to be able to surround myself with people with different interests and backgrounds and come together to support one another. Communities provide so much for us, so it's important to give back in any way we can. I am thankful for Girl Scouts because it has taught me the value of relationships and interdependence that stem from communities such as Wesley. Right now, in a world filled with much uncertainty, community is more important than ever. Maintaining social connections in a remote setting is hard, but I am confident that the communities we are all a part of will keep us together, positive, and hopeful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How wonderful to see those young faces and also to to hear what they feel is so important to them. So thanks so much for their participation as well, and the video production that brought that to us. We would like to move now to our first speaker. For many of you, you definitely have seen her around in the community. Supervisor Cindy Chavez is president of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, and she represents more than 500,000 people in East, Central, and South San Jose. When the coronavirus first hit, Supervisor Chavez really jumped into action to try and help negotiate some very key things to help the community continue to function. Testing sites, ramping up testing, getting numbers out to the public, working with the county, the hospitals, the healthcare system, to make sure that they were well equipped to answer the need, whether it be the nurses, the doctors, the technicians, the cleaning crews within those locations, and others, making sure that they had the protective gear that they needed. So I hope that you will help me give a warm virtual welcome to Supervisor Chavez.
So good evening, Jana. This is Protima from the County Office of Women's Policy. I got a message from President Chavez. The Board of Supervisors meeting is still going on. And in fact, to what you just said, they're hearing the COVID-19 updates. Because as you know, and for the community that's listening in, our Board of Supervisors issued a new health order on Monday. So she sends her apologies to the community. I do want to say that President Chavez is also the co-chair of the Women's Equality Leadership Council that Jana introduced. And this work, what we're doing today, with the community, with Jana leading us in this process today, all of this has happened because 2 years ago, President Chavez said, what are we going to do to make and mark the watershed moment in women's movement? No one gave women the right to vote. We fought for it. Many of our attendees today are also members on the Women's Equality Leadership Council, and I want to thank them on behalf of the Office of Women's Policy and the County of Santa Clara for joining us. And today, I also want to take a moment to thank the Japantown Community Congress as well as the Japanese American Museum, because this is a unique opportunity to demonstrate who we are in this county. As the director of the Office of Women's Policy, it gives me great honor to be here with the community, for the community, and in an event that is by the community, because we also are part of what makes the civic engagement fabric in our county. For us today is a moment that we will mark a victory and use this moment to fuel what we need to do. We heard from our young people as we progress towards this event this evening. I want everybody to remember what we do to preserve, protect, and promote our democracy is in honor of those young leaders. Thank you, and turning it back to you, Jana.
Thank you, Pratima. And again, Pratima is the director of the Office of Women's Policy for the county and has been really instrumental, along with a number of other core people, in trying to make sure that this all comes about today. So Pratima, thank you so much for your words. And also, I think that notion that together, bringing different parts of the community together can help to really form bonds that are long lasting even beyond tonight. So appreciate your taking some time to address everyone. Thank you so much. We now are going to turn to another speaker who many of you know so well. I love that picture as well. I don't think she needs any introduction, but I will briefly say that May Mineta has been a most extraordinary member of the community in the South Bay. She was born to immigrant parents from Hiroshima, Japan. I didn't realize this, but she is the last of 6 siblings that spans 15 years. Her parents were able to send all 6 of the children to college, and May became an educator teaching the deaf. And when her former husband, Norm, won the seat in the US House of Representatives, she moved her family to Alexandria, Virginia, and then moved them all back when they came back to California. And today she is also a very proud and busy grandmother of 7 grandchildren here in the area. So a virtual and warm welcome to May Mineta.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to We Shine, We Vote. I'd like to thank the Santa Clara County Office of Women's Policy, Director Protima Pandey, the Japanese American Museum of San Jose, and Japantown Business Association for organizing this important event. In addition, without the suggestion of a friend of mine, Naomi Nakano Matsumoto, I wouldn't be here. So thank you, Naomi. It's an honor to be joining Supervisor Chavez, who's really, I'm so sorry she couldn't join us, and the activists Norma Callender and Natalie Goolsby. It was on August 18th, 1920, a little over 100 years ago, that the 19th Amendment was ratified, guaranteeing all American women the right to vote, or so one might think. Achieving this milestone required a lengthy and hectic struggle. The victory took decades of discord and protest, but it took decades more struggle to include African American women and other minority women to obtain this right to vote. What it does mean to me to commemorate this special anniversary of the ratification of the right of women to vote. What does it mean to me? First of all, it reminds me of the special privilege it is to cast my ballot in November for a government striving to become a more perfect union for all citizens equally. I am a child of immigrant parents from Hiroshima, Japan. Like other immigrant parents, their arduous journey of long hours of labor and raising 6 children had many twists and turns. But when Japan attacked the United States on December 7th, 1941, life turned upside down for everybody, including those of Japanese descent. War was declared on Japan. Presidential Executive Order 9066 allowed the Army to round up all Japanese from the western states of America and move them into 10 barbed wire camps located in the desolate areas in the country. I was only 7 years old then. Many of the young men in the camps wanted to join the service, military service, to prove their loyalty. One brother and one brother-in-law joined the military intelligence service to become interpreters and were sent to the China, Burma, India theater. Another brother-in-law joined the Army to be sent to Europe to join the 442nd Combat Battalion Unit. This unit was made up of men entirely from these camps. Remember, they volunteered. Fortunately, they all returned home safely after the war. In 1952, the year I graduated from high school and was finally able to vote, the McCarran-Walter Act was passed, allowing for increased immigration from Asia, and also, importantly, allowing the first time of citizen opportunities for my parents and other Asian immigrants to vote. So the best of my recollection, my brothers, we believe our mother, like so many other immigrant women, became a citizen just so that she could vote. She understood the opportunity that the vote provided to change historical and current wrongs. So I appreciate how the organizers of this event tonight connected all the threads to put a historical perspective together to show how precious it is for women to voice their preferences in this election next month. Our history demands us to right present wrongs to make it a more perfect union for all equally. Make your voice count. Make our forebears proud that their toils were not in vain. Go vote in memory of all those who have passed to carry on their efforts to overcome oppression. Keep the energy and momentum of this dream moving forward. Equality means freedom. Again, thank you to all who made this event possible. I just want to remind you to keep that glow shining and go vote, please. Thank you.
May Manetta, thank you so much for those words and also for that very personal perspective on history, especially that time, which for many Japanese Americans is so painful, but also showed how important it is to stand up as citizens and to take pride in your own citizenship. We appreciate your being with us tonight and for sharing those words. Thank you. As May mentioned, we do have some other speakers who are joining us, and I'd like to turn now to Norma Callender, who I'm delighted to introduce, another longtime local leader who was inducted into the San Jose Silicon Valley Black Legends Hall of Fame on February 16th, 2019. So that would make her a living legend. Norma is a civil rights activist and a graduate of Albany Business College in Albany, New York. She is the mother of 3 sons and credits her own mother as an inspiration for her passion and advocacy for those who are underrepresented, underprivileged, both children and also seniors as well. She has worked as an independent paralegal for Santa Clara County's attorneys and served as a jurist on the Santa Clara County Civil Grand Jury. She served twice as an Obama Fellow, and she says her favorite pastime is tap dancing with Southside's dazzling divas. So I present to you someone who definitely shines, Norma Callender.
I hope you can see me because I knocked my computer over while May was talking. I thank you so much. I'm thankful for the Japanese community and the business Congress for agreeing to join us tonight. And I'm so grateful to Cindy Chavez, who I have worked with, walked with, knocked on doors with Cindy and Mike years ago. I have, like you say, I've just been active in just so many things and so many times that I participate the way I do. I not only give God the glory for allowing me to have this energy, because May and I are probably the same age, or I may be a little older than May. I'm not really sure. But my mother, and I've got to share her picture with the world tonight. My mother reminds me of this woman. She reminded me of Sojourner Truth. There was no battle that was too big for my mother to take. And I really think that a whole lot of this energy and this passion to fight for the rights of others is in our DNA. And I'll tell you, I don't know about the rest of you, but I am just having such a problem nowadays just organizing my thoughts and just walking around the house praying for an answer and praying for the time to speed up. Because when we are talking about the right to vote for women, and don't forget, even that took many, many years of struggle to get to that point, because in 1915, they gave that right to vote to white men and some black men, and that right was also overturned. So it was 50 years after the white women got the right to vote that black women could vote. And look at us now. Look at what they are trying to do. They are doing everything in their power. President Obama warned us that if we did not get Hillary in, I'm so sorry, I don't know who's on this line, but he was right. He said we would be put back between 50 to 100 years. We are being put back about as far as you can go, where people can say racist, very mean things and get away with it and be emboldened by the man who is sitting in the top chair in the United States of America. Here they are, they first tried to hinder us by taking out sorters in the US Post Office, taking a very sacred institution that we used and we could rely upon our entire lives. And they put us in a position where we don't know if we are going to get our ballots even on time. I don't know about you, but I have joined a whole lot of other Black seniors who have determined, who've made the determination that we will not trust the US Post Office. We plan to hand deliver our ballots. I know in Santa Clara County, we are advanced beyond a whole lot of the rest of the United States, and we've got close to 200 boxes. I don't know, I am so paranoid at this point that I don't feel comfortable with the boxes. So a lot of us plan to either vote at the registrars of voters so we can have our ballot right there, or drop it off. I just found out today that the governor of Texas, who had decided to move all of the boxes, I guess so much pressure has been put on him that he has decided to reinstall the boxes that they were removing. What they've got to learn is that we have had this history, especially Black women, of fighting with every ounce of our makeup to do what we've got to do. They can go and put one polling place 400 miles. I guarantee you, this year, 2020, people are in their 90s, almost 100 years old. They are willing to ride a bus all night long if they need to. They don't mind, and if you can see, they are already lining up around the corners. So we are not going to let the evilness, we are not going to let the hate, we are not going to let their blockades, we are not going to let their threats make us back off from voting. I rode in a bus all night long from upstate New York, going to the March on Washington with my sister. My parents were afraid because if you guys remember, the KK were threatening us the same way the Proud Boys, who are emboldened now, to come and frighten us off. And I cut up so badly, crying, I really did, I wanted to go, that my parents asked my sister, who's a little younger than me, if she would go. So until the day my mother passed, I kidded with her, saying you were willing to sacrifice 2 daughters, but not one. I want to just end by saying, yes, we shine when we vote. You take that flashlight and you put it on that goal, and we are going to gather these multitudes of voters, and we are going to win and make a change. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Norma Callender, thank you so much. And I think people can tell that you are not one to mince words. You say it the way you feel it. And you mentioned that you aren't sure who's on this, this gathering. And I think that is an important thing that, if we truly believe in diversity, it's not just diversity of gender or color, ethnicity, but also of opinions. And that bringing people together in this kind of public forum where people can discuss things honestly the way people feel, whether there's entire agreement or not, that is the important thing that makes our democracy strong, is having civil discussions about issues. And so I appreciate your candor and hope that people who are out there, whether they agree with you or not, are listening, and that I think hopefully they find that there are people listening to them as well in this community in Silicon Valley to try and form better paths of communication, more civil paths to discourse, because that is in the end what will help us see things from another person's perspective as all Americans, because we all are Americans no matter how we might look or what gender we might be. So thank you for your words tonight and for sharing that. And you did mention one thing about uncertainty. And that is something which Protima and the team, in talking about this, felt like it was also very important that there be some discussion and some information sharing when it does come to how people are going to navigate going about getting their vote counted. So at this point, I would like to just say that Natalie Goolsby had intended to be here, but she was not able to come. So in her stead, we have Paulo Chang, and we're delighted. I think I see him there in the column of panelists tonight. The questions are coming out right now as people are wondering how to get information on this year's elections, the voting deadlines, what the rules are. And so tonight, from Santa Clara County's Registrar's Office, Paulo Chang has agreed to be part of this event to answer questions, filling in for Natalie Goolsby, who was not able to make it. And Paulo, you see his picture there, fantastic bow tie, joined the Registrar of Voters in 2006 as a trainer and helped to develop the training program for poll worker classes. Years later, he joined the Social Services Agency as a training specialist, and then in 2018 returned to the Registrar of Voters and Precinct Operations with Vote Center hiring, poll worker hiring, training, just so many things that go on behind the scenes before any of us ever get to the polls. He and others are busy making sure that things run smoothly. He is also looking forward to successfully completing the very first year of the Voters' Choice Act implementation to empower every Santa Clara County voter with more ways and more days to vote. So Paulo, thank you for joining us tonight. I see that big sign behind you that says vote and also the bow tie, different bow tie. So first of all, could you just talk a little bit about some of those concerns that Norma brought up about how this year's election is going to go, and what are some of the things that people should be thinking of? What are things that they need to know?
Sure. So well, first of all, thank you for having me here. But the most important thing is that no matter how any one of us feels about this election, no matter how anyone feels democracy is being affected and how we all feel about this, the most important thing is that you still have to vote to keep this democratic process going on and to give it a fair chance to get better and have all voices in it so that we can progress as a nation and then, move on making this country better, okay? That's one of the things that's very important is don't forget to vote. Now, all of you, of course, those of you in the audience have the right to vote. I want to remind you that you have to be obviously a citizen, U.S. citizen. in this county. You have to be a resident in this county, and of course, 18 years old at least. Now, I think we may have some younger audience in our crowd, in our audience, okay, some younger viewers. And I want to stress to you that in the past, we've always gone to high schools to do, voter registration drives, to do voter engagement meetings and that kind of thing. But of course, this year with COVID, we're not able to do that. But any one of you, seniors, juniors, you can always pre-register, okay? You can pre-register even if you're 17 years of age. And then when you become 18 years old, automatically you will have the right to vote, okay? So if your birthday is on November 1st or 2nd, don't forget to pre-register right now, because as soon as the 1st or the 2nd or even the 3rd comes up in November, you'll be able to vote. You go to a vote center, your name is going to show up, you'll be voting your very first presidential election, okay? Good. So let me see what's on the next slide, please. Voter registration. So it's very important that we all register to vote. It's super important. There's been tremendous drives, so many drives throughout the country to get more people to vote, okay? So I'm very, very pleased to announce, you probably do not know this yet, we will announce tomorrow, but today, late morning, we hit the million mark of voter registrations in our county. So for this election, we have 1 million voters just registered to vote and ready to go to the polls and vote this election. All right, so super important. I'm glad that many of you have been coming to our office and asking for voter registration cards for your own events. You've helped us out. You've been pushing for more voters to register, and here we are, 1 million voters for this election. Okay, now let me see what's on the next slide, because the next slide is important to remind you why you want to register to vote, because you have so many things to vote for on this ballot. Okay, now not only do you have your own school districts, your own water districts, your own, everything that's in your neighborhood for you to vote for, but of course you go all the way up to state, U.S. representative, and then of course presidential candidates. So many things are at stake this election. You know how important it is to vote. Every election is important to vote, okay? It could be just your local voting at some point in the next couple of years, or it could be a statewide and countrywide voting election. It's important that you vote, all right? Now, if just a second ago I mentioned that we have 1 million voters, but tell me, what good is it to have 1 million voters if you all don't vote, okay? We've been working this election for many months now. We finished March election, we jumped right into November election. We are ready to have you vote. We are doing everything possible to make it comfortable for you to vote, easy and safe. So please don't forget, come and vote this election, all right? Now, I want to talk about more things that are very important on the next slide, okay? Some of you are thinking, well, what are my options to vote this election, okay? And the options for you to vote are simple. Everyone in the county will be mailed a vote by mail ballot, all right? And you are thinking, wow, this election, everyone in the county will get a vote by mail ballot. That's true, but this is going to be our second time having an all-mail ballot election, okay? Back in March, those of you who voted in March, you received one of these already in your ballot, in your mailbox, okay? Now, for this election, obviously, for the whole state of California, Governor Newsom is signing an executive order mandating that we all, or all registered voters, send a ballot to every voter, okay? So that could be more challenging for some counties that did not have the Voter's Choice Act, which we implemented in March 2020. But for this November, we have already had experience with one full vote by mail ballot. So please feel confident in our system. We have a good, strong, robust system. We are ready for you to vote, okay? Now, all of you will be mailed one of these ballots, okay? Not only do you get these ballots, okay, but listen, about a month ago, you already received one of these cards. These are the cards that we sent to all of voters in the county to remind you, here are the options for this election, okay? You have options. You can either vote from home, because we're going to mail one of these, or you can come into one of our vote centers to vote in person, if you'd like to do that. Now, we are also sending this out to you, okay? How many in the audience have already received one of these? This is what we call the County Voter Information Guide. You want to get this book. When you go to your mailbox and you see these things, don't just throw them away. Okay, what this provide to you is voter education. These will tell you, okay, everything that is in your ballot. In fact, many of you eagerly wait for these booklets because it's in these booklets that you're going to see what's on your specific ballot type for your neighborhood. Okay, and then what you do is you'll go in here and make your practice ballot out of this because you have everything that's in your ballot type in these booklets. We send one of these in English to every vote in the county. And those of you who ask for a different language that we support, up to 13 languages, we'll send this to you as a second booklet, okay? So again, we send this information to you. We already send you the mailer, okay? And then of course, the one thing that we send you now is this one. Now, yesterday was October 5th. By law, that's what we call in the election of business, is that what we call E-29. That is the day that we start sending out vote by mail ballots to all of you. And because we have 1 million voters this time around, don't expect that we are mailed these ballots to you yesterday and you're getting this tomorrow, okay? But all of you, within a week or two, you should be getting your ballots because again, we have 1 million to send. You'll be getting this slowly. Now, when you get this, you're gonna have two options, okay? Or to drop this, actually 3 options. You can drop this at the USPS mailbox. You can also drop this off at one of our own drop boxes, okay? And if you feel apprehensive or if you still would like to have that experience of voting in person at a polling place, which we don't have anymore, you can actually come to our vote centers. So we're gonna have 100 drop boxes for you to drop these mail ballots in. We're also going to have 100 walk-in vote centers. So if you want to vote in person, you can walk in and vote in person to a vote center. The best thing about the Voters' Choice Act, which we implemented in March 2020, is that you no longer just have election day to vote, okay? So for many of you who had the excuse of, well, I'm off from work at 6, I don't get home until 7, polls goes at 8, I don't have much time to vote. Well, now you actually have October 31st, Halloween day, okay? You can actually vote on October 31st, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then election day, okay? So no excuse for any one of us to wait until the last minute to vote because of COVID, okay? Now let me address COVID. Because of COVID, what we're going to do at every vote center, we're gonna provide these sanitizer hand pumps, okay? Also masks for everyone. We want our staff at the vote centers to wear these masks, gloves, shields, and disinfect all surfaces after a voter votes, okay? We also expect the voters to wear a mask for their own safety and of those around the voter, okay? Now, if you don't want, of course, to go vote in person because there's going to be a crowd, vote by mail. And guess what? You all are receiving one of these, okay? And if you're still apprehensive about vote by mail, let me tell you this, that all the, everything that you hear in the news, it's important, okay? But do not let any negative events erode your belief in the power of democracy, and especially in the power of elections and voting, okay? You all have a role to do this election, okay? The role is for you to vote, okay? And in our county, we don't have a history, never had a history, don't have any issues whatsoever with vote by mail ballots, okay? So in this county, we have a good, robust system. In fact, let me go back to November 2018. In November 2018, 80% of the voters in this county had requested on their own to vote a vote by mail ballot. And that means 8 of every 10 of you in the audience are already voting from home. So what changed in March and for this November? We're basically going to upgrade 20% more of you, and everybody automatically gets one of these, okay? So please don't forget, it's a very special election. There's so much at stake for the future of yourselves and your children and everyone else. So do not take all these negative news and think, oh my gosh, I don't believe in this, I don't want to vote. That's the wrong attitude. You want to vote, you have to keep pushing democracy, you have to keep going forward and make sure that everybody gets to vote. Tell your friends, please vote this election, okay? Now, if you do want to find the best information possible for the election, there's some things that you can do. One of them is actually go to the votersedge.org/California or CA, okay? That is in fact a non-partisan website that is going to give you all the information about the ballots in California, so you can then have some assistance in making up your mind, okay? And I would like you to make up your mind early, okay? Everybody talks about, when are you going to have my results? When are you going to have voting results? Well, if a million of you waits to vote until the last minute, I'm not going to get the results for you on the same night, okay? So the earlier you start voting and dropping this in the ballot, well, guess what? I'll have the results much earlier for all of you to get this information, okay? So we, in the office, we're eagerly waiting for all of you to vote this election. If you have any questions, always visit our website, okay? Follow our social media, call us in the office. We'll provide you the correct information relevant to this county, relevant to California. Do not let any other negative information, again, take you away from this election. You have to do the opposite. You have to fight it. You have to vote this election. We wait for you to vote this election, okay? So I'd like to thank you, all of you, for listening to me, and please spreading the word to all of your fellow voters. They have to vote this election, okay? Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, Paulo, for all of that really good information. And I think that is, definitely something that is important, is for people to arm themselves with information. And I just want to let people know, if you missed the website that Paulo just mentioned, Protima has put it up in the chat column. So if you click on chat, you can see it'll pop up, and it has that votersedge.org/CA, and that was the website that Paula was referring to get information. We have one final question, which is, are you planning to vote in November or even in October? I guess you can combine those two, because as we just heard, there is early voting as well. And I did hear somebody post before that the election is not on November 3rd. The deadline is just after November 3rd to get your ballot in. And certainly the election is happening right now as we speak. So thank you so much to Paulo for all of that information, lending us your expertise. And we can see there that yes, 83% of people said yes, and no, but I'm telling all eligible voters to vote, 17%, and that is certainly another part of this, which is hopefully you will take a little bit of what you just heard and help to share that with people who were not able to join us here tonight. So thanks again to Paulo Chang from the Registrar's Office in Santa Clara County. We'd now like to invite everyone to turn on your video, and I think our administrator is going to release the hold so that people can do that. And as we see your faces pop up, it's wonderful to see you. We want to welcome everyone to participate in a dancing finale, if you will, for E Janai Ka, which is going to be led by PJ Hirabayashi and Yurika Chiba from San Jose Taiko, and talk about a community treasure that San Jose Taiko is. PJ is a Bay Area native and a founding member of San Jose Taiko and the group's artistic director emeritus, and really, you might say, a pioneer in North American taiko drumming. She's recognized in the international taiko community for her very distinctive performance style and teaching styles that combine the movement with dance and drumming. There is so much joy and energy that goes into taiko performances, often in festivals. It's a way to kick off ceremonies. And her new project that just launched is a website called taikopeace.love. It is a movement dedicated to unleashing creativity and healing the human spirit through the energy of the taiko drum and drumming. She'll be joined by Yurika Chiba of San Jose Taiko. And a little bit about Yurika: she is from Kawagoe in Japan and moved to Toronto, Canada, before settling here in the Bay Area. She was a part of the 2006 audition process class, and then she later joined San Jose Taiko as part of the artistic staff in 2007. She has toured internationally as well as throughout this country and performs locally in festivals and schools and corporate events, sharing that part of the culture with people, and is a regular guest instructor at the biannual North American Taiko conferences and panelist for Women in Taiko. She is also a visual artist known as Taiko Cat, seen around Japantown. So we'd now like to turn it over to PJ and Yurika.
Welcome to Ajanica. Ajanica is openly inviting everyone just to get up and dance. It has become an anthem of gratitude for things that have come before us. Ajanica is a song about the first immigrants coming from Japan to America, just like my grandparents. It commemorates their hard work during their immigrant lives, and it's also a story about essential workers. So, just before we get into the dance itself, I'd like to explain the movements of the dance. So, a little bit about the background to the movements of Ajanica. It's about farming, fishing, mining, railroad, and about sweating. So, when we dig into the earth, dig, and pick for mining, pick. And then we gather the net for fishing. And then we'll sweat. And big wheel is to commemorate the railroad where my grandpa was an engine wiper. It is about helping steer the economy of the nation, even with his job as menial labor as an engine wiper. Last movement is throw the net out to sea. It's about getting the big catch and everybody working together as a community to bring in the fish. So, this is how it all comes together. Dig and pick and dig and pick. Gather up, gather up. Sweat to the right and sweat to the left. Big wheel. Throw the net out to sea. So, the literal translation for Ajanica is, isn't it good? It's that internal knowing that all is good despite our hardships and our challenges. And it's also good just to get up and dance like a fool and just enjoy the moment. Nowadays, we see hundreds of people dancing Ajanica in the streets for Obon and also community gatherings throughout the world. We see many hearts overflowing with joy. And that is connection. And that is community. We shine, we vote.
Woo! Bravo, bravo. And how wonderful to see so many people's faces. And thank you to those who were dancing. Thank you to PJ and Utica. And I only hope that when all of this is over, we'll be able to get together in San Jose, Japantown, or elsewhere and be able to hear you and see you in person out in the community, because this is certainly, I think, a time when we are so appreciative of having that real connection. And I am so glad that we were able to have this moment and share it tonight all together, even if we are in different places throughout the Bay Area or even beyond, that we're able to at least have some connection, because connection, as we've seen, is so important at this time. So thank you all so much for taking time out of your evening to be a part of this event. We want to really use this as a moment to both look back and reflect, but also honor the people who are with us now, who have been part of this fight for the right to vote, and also every single one of us who has that right and making a decision as to what we're going to do. And I think, as you heard before from Paulo and also from other people, regardless of what your thoughts are, your political views, that it is just important to be present and to exercise that right to vote, because that is something that is so critical for our American democracy going forward. So we hope that you will take what you have experienced tonight and go out and share it with the many people who perhaps were not able to be here and not able to participate in this. Share with them what you've learned, share with them this experience, both the history and also how they can be a part of this year's democratic process. And I appreciate this opportunity to be able to, connect with the community. I'm going to dash off because I'm now going to prepare for the 10 o'clock news and hope to see you then. And certainly we'll be following the developments as they happen from now through Election Day. And certainly this is a moment, I think, where we are all being tested in so many ways. And looking at tonight and hearing from the people that we heard from tonight, I think can't do anything but give you hope that there are a lot of people who are really dedicated to making sure this American democracy moves forward stronger than ever. So thank you all for joining us.
Before Jana runs away, we would be doing a disservice if we didn't thank you, Jana, for agreeing to host us today, for walking us through this amazing event, and for reminding all of us why we have to work together. So thank you. I know you're getting late for the broadcast, but please, the community, join me in thanking Jana and all of our amazing speakers, Miss Minetta, Norma, Paolo, the Japantown Community Congress. Michael met with us at the San Jose Japanese American Museum about a year and a half ago, and here we are. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay. Good job, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Sunay-san, thank you, thank you. Sharon is here, Peg is here, Norma, God, Laura, everybody.
Thank you. Great job. Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you. How's it going? Oh my God, this is beautiful.
Hi, Laura. You made it.
Thank you so much. This is a wonderful community event.
Yes.
Wait.
Very good.
Here's my lantern.
Minnie.
Yes, Cynthia, look at your lantern. Oh my God.
You shine on, Cynthia. Shine on.
Hi, Peg. Oh my God, this is a mini reunion.